everybody. In this lecture, we are going to talk about inflectional and derivational affixes. Affixes are divided into two types, inflectional and derivational affixes. Previously, we divided affixes into three types, prefixes, infixes, and suffixes. That was in relation to the position of the affixes with the base. So if the affix comes before the base, it is a prefix. If it is inserted within the word, it is an infix. But if it comes after the base, it is a suffix. But in this lecture, we are going to divide the affixes according to their function, to their meaning and function in the word. So, according to that, affixes are going to be divided into inflectional and derivational. Today we are going to talk about inflectional affixes. We have only 9 inflectional affixes in English. Remember, we have only 9 inflectional affixes. All other affixes are derivational. Just 9 of them are inflectional in English. These inflectional affixes are attached to nouns, verbs, and adjectives. 3 of them are attached to nouns, 4 of them are attached to verbs, and 2 of them are attached to adjectives. Let's move to the first 3 affixes that are attached to nouns. We have S plural, S singular possessive, and S plural possessive. Starting with the S plural is an inflectional affix. It comes in the form of a suffix and an infix. With regular plural, it comes in the form of a suffix. With irregular plural, it comes in the form of an infix. Books, dogs. So the S in books and dogs is an inflectional affix. It is S plural and it is a suffix because it comes after the base. So it is a suffix. But in mice and men, we have S plural in these two words, but in the form of an infix. We do not have a suffix S. We have an infix. Mouse, it becomes mice. So there is the plurality in the word mice because we have a replacement of sounds between mouse and mice. There is an infix and it is the infix of plurality. We call it S plural, but this S plural comes in the form of an infix. Men. Also men is a plural noun. It has an S plural, but it is in the form of an infix. So if I ask you how many morphemes are there in the word mice or men, you would say mice consist of 2 morphemes, mouse and S plural. And if you want to give me details, you have to say the S plural comes in the form of an infix, not a suffix. Men again consist of 2 morphemes, man and S plural, which comes in the form of an infix. The second S is S singular possessive. This S indicates possession, but it comes with singular nouns, like for example boy, Sarah, girl, etc. The indication of the S possessive is an apostrophe before the S. So we put the noun, the singular noun, apostrophe, and S, like boys, Sarah's, John's, etc. The third S is S plural possessive. Here we have the S possessive but with plural nouns. Please pay attention to this. If we have a plural noun and this plural noun is in its regular form, regular plural, we would have an S at the end of the noun, the S plural. So we have to add another S, which is the S plural possessive. For example, we have boys. Boys is a plural noun. We want to talk about those boys possessing something. So we have to add an S possessive. Well, all we have to do is to add an apostrophe without adding the S. We do not say boys'. We do not say boys, then apostrophe, then S. For ease of pronunciation, they just add an apostrophe. The apostrophe is an indication for that there is an S after it, but the S is deleted. Again, boys and boys. After boys, we have an apostrophe. It means that there is a deleted S, and this deleted S is called S plural possessive. For ease of pronunciation, we do not put the S after the apostrophe. If I ask you how many morphemes do we have in boys, you have to say that it consists of 3 morphemes: boy, S plural, and S plural possessive, because the apostrophe is the indication of the deleted S, the S plural possessive. But in irregular plural like men, we do not have to put just apostrophe. We can put the S because this word does not end in S. Because this word does not end in S plural. So we can use the apostrophe, then the S, just like the singular form. So men's. How many morphemes do we have in men's? We have 3. Man, S plural, that comes in the form of an infix, and S plural possessive. The inflectional affixes that are attached to verbs are 4. The first one is S third person singular. For short, it is S3D, S third. This S is added to verbs in the present simple tense when the subject is singular. For example, she plays, she writes, she goes, the water freezes. So S third person singular is an inflectional suffix. Remember, it is an inflectional suffix. It is added to verbs in the present simple tense when the subject is singular. The next inflectional affix is ing verb. Ing verb is added to verbs in the continuous tenses, in the past continuous tenses and in the present continuous tenses. We say ing verb because we have ing nominal and ing adjectival. We will deal with them later. But the inflectional affix is ing verb only. The next one is ed past. Ed past is an inflectional affix. It is added to regular verbs as a suffix. Ed, like play, played, like, liked, cry, cried, wash, washed, etc. So it is added to regular verbs as ed, as a suffix, but it is added to irregular verbs as an infix. Write, wrote. Go, went. Freeze, froze. So wrote has ed because it is in the past tense. It has ed, but this ed is in the form of an infix, not a suffix. Still, it has ed past. If I want you to mention the number of the morphemes in wrote, you have to say that it consists of two morphemes, write and ed past. But the ed past comes in the form of an infix. Ed past participle is another inflectional affix that is added to verbs. Its short form is EDPP. In the exam, you can recognize the inflectional affixes by short forms. You can write them in their short forms. You do not have to write ed past participle in a full form. You can write EDPP, it's enough. EDPT or ing verb, you can even write it as VB, S3D, etc. So you have to memorize the short symbols for each one of these inflectional affixes because they are 9 only, so it is easy to memorize their symbols. We come back to ed past participle. We can find this suffix attached to verbs in the passive voice and also in the present and past perfects. It comes as a suffix with regular verbs like played, liked, like washed, like cried, etc. But it comes as an infix with irregular verbs like written, gone, frozen, etc. We have two other inflectional affixes, and those affixes are attached to adjectives, ERCP and ESTSP. ERCP is ER comparison. So CP is the short form for comparison, is the symbol for comparison. ERCP comes with adjectives to make a degree of comparison. Short, shorter. Clever, cleverer. Nice, nicer. EST, SP, it means AST superlative. Superlative, it means we make a degree of superlativeness. Short, shortest. Clever, cleverest. Nice, nicest. So we have two inflectional affixes that are attached to adjectives, ERCP and ESTSP. So please pay attention to the written symbols. I would not say comparison or superlative as a full form. I would write the S plural possessive, as singular possessive, as third, etc. in their short form. So you have to memorize the symbol for each inflectional affix. Now it's time to introduce a new term to you, that is the stem. The stem is the base or the bases with all derivational affixes. You know that some words have only one base. Some others have two bases or even more. Now, the stem consists of the base of the word plus the derivational affixes with this base in that word. And if we have two bases, so the two bases with the derivational affixes in that word. This is the stem. without any inflectional affixes. So the most important condition for the stem is that it doesn't contain any inflectional affix, because the inflectional affixes are added later to the stem. So the stem consists of the base or the bases with the derivational affixes without inflectional affixes. Let's have examples. Dark. Dark is a word that consists of only one morpheme. Only one morpheme. This morpheme is a free morpheme and it is a base. So what is the stem of dark? Dark is a stem by itself. It is a base and it is a stem. We've said that the stem is the base with all derivational affixes, but in this one there is no derivational affix, so it's okay. The stem consists of the base only because we don't have a derivational affix, so it can be a base only. And we don't have any inflectional affix, so dark is the word and dark is the stem also. Another word is playboys. Playboys is a word that consists of three morphemes. Play, boy, S plural. Play and boy are free morphemes. S is a bound morpheme. Play and boy are bases because they carry the principal meaning of the word playboys. So they are bases, free bases. S is a bound morpheme and it is an affix. Now, where is the stem in playboys? Again, to the definition of the stem. The base or the bases with all derivational affixes. We have the bases play, boy. Play and boy. What about derivational affixes? Do we have a derivational affix in this word? No. Why? Because S, the S plural, is not derivational. It is inflectional. That is why, in order to say or to take the stem of this word, we have to remove the S from the word, because the stem consists of the base or the bases with the derivational affixes without inflectional affixes. So the stem of playboys is playboy without the S, because in the stem we should not have any inflectional affix. In the word beautified, we have three morphemes: beauty, fi, and ed. Beauty is a free morpheme. Fi and ed are bound morphemes. Beauty is the base in this word, and it is a free base. Fi and ed are affixes. Now let's consider the type of these affixes. Fi is derivational because it is not one of the 9 inflectional affixes. So if you want to know whether this affix is derivational or inflectional, you have to memorize the 9 inflectional affixes. If the affix is not one of those 9 inflectional affixes, so it is derivational, because we have only 9 inflectional affixes in English. So fi is not one of the 9 inflectional affixes. That is why it is derivational. What about ed? Ed is inflectional because it is one of the 9 inflectional affixes. Ed past, maybe. So we have a base plus a derivational affix, which is a suffix in fact, and an inflectional suffix. So where is the stem in this word? As we've said, The stem consists of the base plus derivational affixes without inflectional affixes. So all what we have to do is that we have to remove the inflectional suffix from the word to have the stem. So the stem of beautified is beautify. Let's move to another word, that is wrote. In wrote, we have two morphemes, as we've said. Wrote is in the past simple form. The present form is write and the past form is wrote. So wrote consists of two morphemes, write and ed past, but this ed past is not a suffix, it is an infix. In order to have the stem of this word, we have to have the base plus derivational affixes without any inflectional affixes. We don't have any derivational affix in this word, so it's okay. But is there any inflectional affix in this word? Yes. We have an infix, an inflectional infix, that is the ed past. So how to take the stem out of this word? All we have to do is that we have to make this word turns into a base only. So we take the ed past, which is an infix, from the word and make the word returns to its base form, just write. So the stem of wrote is write only.